All right, let's talk about money. But not the kind of money you've got in your wallet or your bank account right now. We're talking about a complete overhaul of what money even is. Seriously, this could be the biggest upgrade to cash in centuries. So, what on earth is this new digital future for our currency?
I mean, think about it for a second. You can binge watch an entire series instantly. You can get a pizza delivered to your door in minutes, but sending money to someone, especially if they're in another country, it can take days, and the fees are just ridiculous. It feels so clunky and ancient, right? Well, that exact feeling, that frustration, is what's pushing governments to completely rethink money.
So, this brings us to money's next big upgrade. It turns out central banks all over the globe are looking at this problem, and they're cooking up an answer, a brand new type of money that's actually built for the internet age. So, what's with this sudden global rush? Well, for one, governments want to make their payment systems way faster and cheaper. Plus, printing and managing all that physical cash costs a fortune. And, let's be honest, they're feeling the heat from the rise of private stuff like cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. They want in on the game.
Okay, but what are these things, really? It's super easy to mix them up with all the other digital money talk out there. So let's get a really clear definition of what we mean by a central bank digital currency, or as you'll hear it called, a CBDC.
Right, here's the most important thing to get. A CBDC is basically a digital dollar, or a digital euro, or a digital yen. It's issued and backed directly by a country's central bank. So this isn't some private currency, it's the official, honest-to-goodness money of a country, just in a purely digital form. It's like the cash in your wallet, but it lives on your phone. It's digital cash.
And this is where we have to draw a really clear line in the sand. A CBDC is not Bitcoin, not even close. Unlike crypto, a CBDC is centralized, and its value is stable because it's pegged to the official currency. And it's legal tender, which means by law it has to be accepted for payments. It's a completely different world from the wild, volatile, decentralized nature of most cryptos.
Now, not all CBDCs are made for the same thing. You've basically got two main flavors. The first is retail. That's the one you and I would use for everyday stuff like buying a coffee or paying bills. The other is wholesale, and that's for the big players, banks using it to settle huge transactions between themselves. Most of the debate and excitement is around that retail version.
So we know what they are, but what's the big promise? Why are we even talking about this? I mean, beyond all the technical jargon, there's some pretty big potential benefits that are driving this whole global movement. So let's get into why over 100 countries are even looking at this idea of digital cash.
The people who support this idea say it really boils down to three potentially game-changing promises: making payments incredibly fast and cheap, bringing millions of people who don't have bank accounts into the modern financial system, and then there's this really futuristic idea of making money itself programmable.
And this just shows you the potential here perfectly. A normal transfer has to bounce around between all these different banks and middlemen. It's slow and clunky, but a CBDC payment? It could be a direct shot from one digital wallet to another, recorded on the central bank's ledger. It cuts out all those extra steps. And that could make sending money, especially across borders, pretty much instant.
And hey, this isn't just a theory. You can look at the Bahamas right now. Their CBDC, which they call the sand dollar, is the first fully up and running national digital currency in the world. And it's already given a huge chunk of their population, people without bank accounts, access to the digital economy for the very first time.
Now this is where it starts to sound like science fiction. Imagine money that has rules coded right into it. The government could send out stimulus money that has an expiration date, to make sure people spend it quickly to boost the economy. Or your paycheck could be programmed to automatically send a bit to your tax bill and a bit to your savings the second it lands in your account. It's an incredibly powerful tool, but yeah, it also opens up some pretty massive questions about control.
And you know what they say, with great power comes great risk. For all of the incredible potential here, there are some really, really serious concerns that have to be sorted out before this kind of technology can go mainstream. The worries really fall into three big buckets. First up, cybersecurity. A national digital currency would be a gigantic, shiny target for hackers. Second, the risk of blowing up our current banking system. And third, maybe the biggest question mark of all, and the one on everyone's mind, privacy.
This right here perfectly illustrates the core dilemma. Do you build a system that's totally anonymous, like cash, which is great for privacy, but could be used for illegal stuff? Or do you go the other way and build one where every single transaction is traceable, which would be great for stopping crime, but gives the government a window into your entire financial life? Central banks are trying to find a middle ground, but it's a huge challenge. Okay, and here's another one of those systemic risks that keeps economists tossing and turning at night. Commercial banks, they take our deposits and use that money to give out loans for things like mortgages and new businesses. But what happens if everyone decides a super safe CBDC wallet held directly with the central bank is a better deal and pulls all their money out? Well, that could seriously mess with the bank's ability to lend money and could destabilize the whole financial system.
Now, don't think for a second that this is some far-off futuristic concept. The race to build the money of tomorrow is happening right now, all across the globe. It's creating a totally new map of financial innovation.
Just look at that number. 260 million. Let that sink in. That's how many people had already tried out China's digital yuan pilot program by 2023. This is by far the biggest CBDC test on the planet, and it just goes to show you how fast this is all moving from an idea to a reality.
And as you can see here, this is a truly global thing, and different countries are designing their CBDCs to solve their own unique problems. China is all about scale and making payments work even when you're offline. The Bahamas is focused on financial inclusion. Sweden is trying to figure out the privacy puzzle in a society that's almost totally done with cash. Each one of these projects is a lesson for the rest of the world.
So there you have it. CBDCs are on their way, and they're promising this amazing world of instant, cheap, and accessible payments. But they also force us to ask some really profound questions about privacy and the role of the government in our finances. And at the end of the day, it forces each of us to ask, what do we value more? That's the billion or maybe trillion-dollar question we're all going to have to answer sooner than we think.